The investor's chief problem and even his worst enemy is likely to be himself. If that investor is left alone by himself or herself, okay, and when I'm saying investor, I'm saying 99%. There'll be that 1% who are extremely disciplined and know what they are doing and why they are doing. But most of us, including you and I, there are times when you and I will also get carried away. We are human, right? We're not monks here. We are monkeys, right? And we will get carried away. And that is the time when that advisor comes into picture.
You're also one of those few advisors, and I've met a few, like when I was figuring out personal finance and I was trying to lay down the foundation, and I met a few, and everybody's like, ye karna hai. You have to do these four things, do it. I was like, but why? How? I don't understand this. I don't understand the terminology. I don't understand why I'm doing it. I'm not even convinced I'm supposed to do it. Right. But you come at it from a very strong belief perspective. First, explain what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then doing it. Why this difference in approach and why this focus on beliefs and mindset?
See, now there are two reasons for someone to choose a profession that I am in. One, maybe because it is, of course, a fantastic business to be in. That's one. Two is because you thoroughly understand what you're doing and what role you are going to play in somebody's life. Like a relationship manager is a term, right? You will have RMs in your bank. Most of them typically are governed by targets in their head. How often do they actually try and understand? Listen, what is your objective for working so hard? Why are you sitting in your office today and I'm sitting in your office guiding you? What is your reason to sit in your office today and work? Why are you doing it? Is it to repay some debts? Is it to give your family a kind of a lifestyle maybe that you didn't get to have when you were a kid? Is it to have a better retirement because maybe you have seen your parents go through a very difficult retirement phase? It could be anything. And for me, I come from this space. A, because I have experienced that firsthand. And two, I think everyone deserves a chance in life where they can financially improve their life. It is called financial well-being. And I think that's extremely important because imagine you finish your work today and you have your baggage of work and you go back home and you have the baggage of money and frustrations. You will never be in the moment with your family and with your kid who is actually looking forward to spending time with you at home. How can I play that role where I can say, listen, give that financial baggage to me and let's work on it? If I can just try and build that sense of discipline, purpose, and tell you, listen, you're fine. We will help you structure your investments. All you need to do is give it time and you will get there. I have seen change in people's lives.
So, over the years that we have worked together, you have some very fundamental principles that you have introduced me to. Could you share some of these fundamental, basic principles that everybody must understand as a newbie to investment?
Sure. When we look at the formula of compounding, which is basically the growth, when we look at growth of investments in number of years, I think the most underrated part of that formula is the power of N. N, which stands for number of years. This is the most highly ignored thing, at least in our culture, when it comes to investments. In fact, I've been reading a book by Basant Maheshwari. It's behind there, and the beginning of the book, he says, it's in Hindi. It says, "आपको पैसा ज़्यादा बनाना है कि आपको पैसा जल्दी बनाना है?" And they're both very different. And when we talk about basic principles of investment, so I generally have a 5-step process that I follow when it comes to advising my clients. And the first is protection, which is basically having yourself adequately insured. Insurance is very, very important because you and I today are working very hard, you know, compromising on our family life in some ways or the other. And God forbid, if I don't have adequate health insurance and something happens to me, I will land up digging into my investments or my savings, or I will have to land up borrowing money, which causes financial stress and duress. But if I have adequate health insurance today, I know that worry is taken care of. I don't have to worry about that. And most importantly comes life insurance. Health will give you a second chance, maybe if you're lucky, or even a third and a fourth chance. You can go to the hospital 4, 5 times and come back home. And you can still start your life and do something or the other. Health will give you a chance. Life will not give you a second chance. And if I don't have life insurance, then I have not left enough behind for my family behind. I'm working hard today and I'm saving money. That saving is going to take years to compound into a certain number. But if something happens to me tomorrow and if I don't have life insurance, do I have the second chance to make sure my son's education is not compromised? To make sure the current lifestyle that I'm giving my family is not compromised? To make sure that my wife can sustain her lifestyle, her life without me comfortably and not having to worry about any payments whatsoever. First comes protection. Your investments will come later. First, my job is to make sure you're adequately insured because health issues can happen anytime and life is unpredictable. That's step number one. Step number two is I would want to understand what are your liabilities like. Like I just mentioned, good loan and bad loan. Everybody is compelled today to take some loan or the other, or just keep on swiping your credit card, right? Managing loans effectively is very, very important because a lot of times these loans that we borrow at are essentially at, let's say, 10 to 12% on an average. And for me, it is very important first that we devise a plan and a structure to get rid of these loans. Because when I plan investments for my clients, I essentially typically start with a 12% compounded return. So let's say if you borrowed something at 10, 12, 13, 14%, I'll be like, first, let's get that off. And then we focus on your, wealth planning and your building. After that, I generally look at initially building an emergency caucus. Before we get on to, let's say, retirement goals, child education goals, marriage, buying a house, car, whatever goals one has, I think emergency corpus is also a very, very ignored part of investment advisory. Because let's say, when I said health, while you might have the health insurance that covers your medical costs, let's say you're not able to work for 3 months and 4 months. What do you do at that point in time? Health insurance company is not going to reimburse that cost for you. You have to make your own arrangements. And that is where emergency corpus comes into picture. And I want to take a break from work. I'm fried. I want to recuperate. I want to go on a holiday. I just want to take a break. How can I do that? Again, emergency corpus comes into play. So all of this essentially does two things. One, it takes care of emergencies. Two, it gives you that mental comfort and satisfaction. You are not stressed. You can go to sleep peacefully, knowing you have adequate health insurance, you have life insurance, you're managing your liabilities well, and you have an emergency corpus built in place for that one rainy day that can just surface anytime without any prior intimation. After this comes our long term investment planning, whether it's your retirement goal, marriage goal, child education, car, iPhone, iPad, laptop, you name it, we will structure it for you. While we are doing all of this, important thing for me is, does my client have a will in place? Many people, don't understand the importance of a will, but a will is important for everybody, regardless of your net worth. Because again, you and I are working hard for a reason, right? And let's say, God forbid, if something happens to me, I would want my assets to get passed on to somebody who I desire it should go to. Whereas any country will have its own laws. Let's say there is a Hindu succession law, right? Or there is an Indian succession act, right? All of these have their rules. So if I don't have a will in place, my money will not entirely go to my wife. A part of it will go to my mother, a part of it will go to my wife, and then a part of it will go to my kids. But let's say I want it to go in a certain proportion and a manner as per my choice. A will is very, very important. It avoids disputes and difficulties in families when I'm not around. And then, of course, comes something called as the FIDOC, which is your family investment document organizer kit, where I urge all my clients to have all their details, financial documents, investments, lockers, bank details, credit card details, you know, lawyer's number, doctor's number, relationship managers, everything in one file, and share it with somebody who they trust in their family or friend circle, so that, God forbid, if something happens to them, the family doesn't have to run helter skelter trying to get all that data and while mourning the loss of somebody. Everything is there and it's in an organized manner. This has no bearing on my business commercially. But when I urge my clients to put all of that data systematically and share it with somebody they trust, they know that if I'm not there, my family knows my health insurance, my life insurance, if they have to go and claim, where my investments are, who is managing it, what is my ID and password if they have to go and fetch it, what are my bank account details, what are my ID and passwords, my credit card, debit cards, everything is in place. So that if I have to go, God forbid, I'm not leaving them with the stress of trying to collate my data and having to find where my assets are, who my nominees are, whether have I spelled the nominee name correctly or not, and go through the whole ordeal in court to make sure that, listen, my son had nominated me, this is rightfully mine, but you are making my life difficult. If I have all of that in place, then I have nothing to worry. I can sleep peacefully. And then comes my annual or biannual review with my clients, where I will constantly go check their portfolios, educate them most importantly. You know, I rather devote 30% of my time in educating my clients and handholding them and structuring their portfolios rather than trying to time the market and worrying about when the market is going to go up and when the market is going to go down. No, I'm not going to do that, and I'm not even good at doing that. That's something that I can confidently say I cannot time the markets.
I want to go back to this idea of protection first and then investment. What are some of the beliefs that hold people back from insurance? Because that comes as a real surprise to me that somebody doesn't believe in insurance, but I've seen it more than I thought I would.
Yeah. There,
What are some
there,
of
there
the
are quite a few. There are quite a few, Ameena. I'll start with life first. Okay. I'm young, I'm healthy, nothing's going to happen to me. Why do I pay life insurance premium? Because what if I happen to live through that age? Will I get anything back if I live through that period? Right? This is the most um, frequent question I get asked when I speak to my clients about life insurance, and they say, will I get some money back that I've paid? And my obvious answer is no, because insurance and investment are two different things. You don't mix them into one. Investment is separate. Insurance, the job is to make sure your dependents who are you going to leave behind you are taken care of. Treating that as an investment product is what stops them from people. Ke milega kya mere ko? Because you're paying for something now to get the benefit of that at a future date. There is no immediate gratification to things now. Why do I put for something now if I'm not going to get anything later if I live through that period? Even health insurance, I have a couple of clients who are way younger, in their 20s, and they say, I'm physically fit. Why should I get a health insurance? I don't want to get insured right now. I'll think about it later. It's like till the time you're not pushed into the water, you don't realize the importance of swimming and floating.
Yeah,
But you rather go and learn that so that in any emergency, if you ever happen to be in the middle of water, you should know at least how to float.
yeah.
Basic.
There's a lot that people have to think about. Who should they go to for this advice?
I would say while a good financial advisor is very, very important, but a good financial advisor is also a very subjective term, because you actually have to find somebody who you can relate with. Because when I say an investment advisor, means it has to be a very, very long-term relationship,
Mm.
because I'm not only managing your investments for 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months. If I'm managing your money, then for me, I want to manage till you attain financial independence, point blank. And when I say financial independence, it also means that your life goals are also taken care of. So, a financial advisor is somebody that you need to go to who can empathize with you, understand you as a person first. Because I think, wavelength and EQ, your emotional quotient is also very, very important. I need to understand you and you need to understand me. Disagreements will happen throughout the journey. But if we can sail through those disagreements and come to a common point and a conclusion that this is right for you or this is right for me, then I think that is the kind of advisor you should choose for yourself.
So it almost sounds like a therapist.
You can say that. You
Because
can
it's so
say that of sorts,
personal.
yes.
I'm revealing my entire my future, my goals, my ambitions, right? What I'm going to do with the money, what I'm bringing in, how much I'm spending, what I'm spending on. Sometimes the discussions go down into that. Like if I'm trying to make more out of my monthly salary, for instance, and then we're sitting down and having that discussion of why are we spending so much on food, or why are we spending so much on going out, or does is this needed? So it sounds like a very vulnerable spot for somebody to be in when they are
Yeah,
talking to an advisor.
right. So I was just reading a book the other day, and there was a saying that caught my fancy that it says the investor's chief problem and even his worst enemy is likely to be himself. If that investor is left alone by himself or herself, okay, and when I'm saying investor, I'm saying 99%. There'll be that 1% who are extremely disciplined and know what they are doing and why they are doing. But most of us, including you and I, there are times when you and I will also get carried away. We are human, right? We're not monks here. We are monkeys, right? And we will get carried away. And that is the time when that advisor comes into picture.
So speaking about this, like, letting go, sometimes just falling prey to your own desires, right? How is the investor Anshul different from the advisor Anshul?
Wow, that's a nice one. Um, so I have my moments where I also get carried away and I will think of. So my passion is motorcycles. Okay. And I think all of us should find that one passion in life. Now,
Hmm.
unfortunately, my passion is an expensive one. Okay. And that takes up money. Motorcycling as a passion is expensive. So there are moments where I do get carried away for a day or two and I'll think, you know what, maybe let me just go and buy that bike. Or let me just call up the dealer and say, you know what, send me the plan. It happens for 48 hours. The 49th hour, when it actually comes to planning, okay, this is the down payment and this is the sort of money that I need to put in towards the bike, the accessories and everything. And I'll say, you know what, hey, listen, I am going astray from my financial goals. Like I said, the only loan that I currently have is a home loan.
Hmm.
I might as well deploy that towards my home loan, reduce my capital, save on that interest, and all of these thoughts start kicking in. So I become my own enemy a lot of times. But again, something that I tell all my investors at some point in your life, you also have to learn to live a little and enjoy a little. Now, this is very subjective because how you would want to live and enjoy life is subjective, and how I want to live my life is subjective. But a little planning, then you're fine.
Hmm.
So I essentially like to plan everything in my life, whether it is, buying the car or buying the watch or buying the bike or my son's education or my retirement or the house that I'm currently staying in right now. Everything has been planned and accounted for. But in the middle, all of this, some things unplanned do happen that just keeps me going and keeps me happy. Like there are a lot of times when My son will come and tell me, Papa, my vacations are coming in 2 months. Can we go here for a holiday? And I'll tell him, listen, we just did a trip last year. We went to a certain place and we had a blast. This year, I planned something else for you, but if you have to go there, then that needs a little more planning. And just a few days back, sitting right here, my son was doing his homework on my desk for a change, and I was sitting out on the terrace. And he said, you know what, Dad, you need to live a little. And I said, where is that coming from?